What is up, YouTube? This is the Blue Eyes channel. Today, coming at you with a deck profile on Gravekeepers. Now, this deck specifically is using Gravekeeper-card, demise-virus cards. And, well, when I tested it on Wygo Pro, it seemed to actually do pretty good. So let's get started. Run 3 copies of Gravekeeper's Commandant. This card is essentially your terraforming for Necro Valley. You send from hand to grave to search Necro Valley from your deck. And if you have already 3 copies of Necro Valley in your hand, you can just summon him. He's a 2100 beater, so he's not that bad. 3 copies of Assailant. 3 copies of Spy. And I'll go into that in a minute. So I want 3 copies of Assailant because 1, when he's battling monsters, he has an effect to change battle position. If Necro Valley is on the field, so essentially you want to see Necro Valley in your hand when you play this card. If Necro Valley is on the field, guys, he'll also have 2000 defense, so you can use deck devastation virus to tribute him off for fire stuff. And if you don't have Necro Valley, then Gravekeeper Spy is a good substitute, as it already has 2000 defense. When it's flipping, especially when a Gravekeeper, so yeah, ideally you want to wait on the virus cards in this deck until your opponent establishes their board, because it just slowly, it just wipes things. So if they're going into like Borload and Firewall Dragon or something, then yeah, you'll see. 3 copies of Sandgun. Yes, I am running Sandgun, guys. This card is absolutely amazing. This card combos off with a Crush Card Virus. So if you have it, summon Sandgun, set Crush Card Virus face down, and when your opponent establishes their board and they're trying to just like OTK or something, I don't know, use Crush Card Virus, tribute Sandgun to pop off things. Sandgun's effect lets you add stuff, and Crush Card I don't think lets you deal damage to your opponent for that turn. I'll have to double check on that, but you're doing it on your opponent's turn, and well, Sandgun, when it's set from field to grave, you can search for Assailant, Spy, Guard, which we're gonna go over in a minute. So, or this card, Gravekeeper Descendant. This card is actually kind of fun. I do run 2 copies, but if you get him, he's quite useful for back row removal and stuff. You can tribute a Gravekeeper, pop any card on the field, and you can do it as many times as you want. It does say tribute 1 other Gravekeeper monster, so that's basically what he's used for. 1 copy of Guard. I don't know if I'd run 2 copies of it or not, but it's basically good for if your opponent's like link spamming, or like brings out 1 big link monster. Return it, it returns stuff to the hand whenever it's flipped, so it's good for that. I run 1 copy though because it just returns it to hand, but I mean it's good for like if they're using like an extra deck card. Going after our spells, guys, we're going to do 3 copies of Necro Valley. Obviously, you want to search this card because this card's like the main card of your deck. It buffs up your Gravekeepers. It locks your opponent's graveyard out. It's great. And this is why I would run the Virus Engine, because once you send the monsters to the graveyard and they can't really bring it back like Monster Reborn or something, then, Necro Valley just says no. So, 3 copies of Necro Valley. 3 copies of Gravekeeper still. If you're tributing off your Gravekeepers, you might want to bring them back. So, with the small amount of monsters we're running, this brings 2 from your grave to your hand. And unaffected by Necro Valley, so great card. 3 copies of Card Demise. If you're running virus cards and the majority of this deck is spells and traps, there is a lot of monsters, don't get me wrong, but if you open up with like a bunch of virus cards and you have Card Demise, just set back row. Or if you have monsters, wait till you run out of monsters in your hands. So once you play out your monsters, and this is the only card in your hand, play card, demise, draw 3, and it's a great card, guys. Really great card. I played 2 copies of Terraforming. I would run 3, but I think it clogs up the deck since you have Gravekeeper's Commandant. You don't really need 3 Terraforming, just run 2 in case you get Ash Blossom or something. 1 copy of Royal Tribute. Guys, I would run 3 of this if it wasn't limited, but it's still good at 1. But both players, if you control Neck Valley, both players discard all monsters in their hands. So good for locking down your opponent. And then 1 copy of Raigeki, because board wipe, and if monsters, again, you want to send their monsters to their graveyard so you can lock them out from playing. For our traps, guys, 3 copies of Gravekeeper-card. This is what you want to do with Sandgun. Tribute 1 dark monster with 1,000 or less attack. So Sandgun, your opponent takes no damage until the end of the next turn. Actually, guys, this would slow you down for a turn, but you're just slowly like making it where they can't play monsters. Also, you look at your opponent's hand, all monsters they control, so it gets rid of all those big monsters with 1,500 or more attack. So if it's all monsters they control and in their hand. So if they fully establish a board like Borload or something, you can just start wiping things. It's quite a fun card. I run 3 copies of Dark Bribe. This card is amazing. I can't tell you enough, because Full Force Virus is in this deck, and so if they draw a card due to the cost of Dark Bribe, they have to reveal if it's a monster, send it to grave. So it kind of turbos out your Full Force Virus plays, and free negation, so why not? 2 copies of Deck Devastation Virus, and again, 2 copies of Full Force Virus. I'm going to up the rarities of these cards. I do have ultra rares, but Deck Devastation Virus, tribute 1 dark monster with 2,000 or more attack. So Gravekeeper Assailant is great for this card. Any Gravekeeper Assailant, Gravekeeper Descendant, good for this. Look at your opponent's hand, all monsters they control, and destroy all monsters with 1,500 or less attack. So this gets rid of the weak monsters. Crush Card gets rid of the strong monsters. Full Force Virus is good with like using on the majority of all. And I was thinking about running 3 Full Force Virus, guys, but I don't know. I'm still testing this deck out. So should be 1 dark monster with 2,000 or more defense. So Spy or any of the great like Gravekeeper Assailant if you have Necro Valley out. Look at your opponent's hand, all monsters they control and all cards they draw until the end of their... It says draw, not during the draw phase, which is why I run Dark Bribe. Dark Bribe turbos out this card, so it's really amazing. This destroys monsters 1,500 or less at defense, so good for against defensive decks. 1 copy of Imperial Tombs for negation if you have Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper. You can negate pretty much anything. So free negation, you just have to have Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper monster on the field. And last but not least, we're going to play Rite of Spirit, just in case if you need to bring out a Gravekeeper monster for something, you know, good for that. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like this. I'm trying to upload more and more Yu-Gi-Oh content. I know it's been a little bit slow, but if you guys want to check this deck out, like, honestly, guys, I'd recommend you guys to try this. If you love Gravekeepers, this deck, I feel like it has potential for a link format. And I haven't even gotten, like, Troy Mares or anything. Essentially, I want to get Troy Mare cards to extra link my opponent out. And then, complete lockdown, guys. Complete lockdown. So, again, if you enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.